What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Spyt-Takes. This is the first episode ever of this show, and I am happy to have you guys here. Thank you for coming. It's very awesome to have you. What we're going to do on this show, let me tell you a little bit about it really quick. First off, I'm just sort of doing a test of this to see how everything goes this evening, and to, yeah, you like that intro, Val? And to sort of let you know the format, what we're going to do here, and catch up a little bit. Normally, I'm going to have a co-host with me, and they will be down here, over there in the other side of the screen here. It's a surprise. I'll tell you who it is next week, but he's somebody from work. It's not Meps. It is somebody else that you've probably seen on the streams before, who is a huge fan of these shows, and he and I are actually going to come on here and kind of talk about them with you guys and go through it. Now, he's not here with me this evening because he needed to catch up on a few episodes, so I figure, well, here's the deal. What we'll do is we'll do this show for about an hour, and we'll cover each of the 4 shows, Gotham, Arrow, Flash, and Constantine in like 15-minute blocks. If we go over, that's cool, but we'll kind of keep to 15 minutes in each of the shows. Now, maybe tonight will go a little longer because we got a lot of catching up to do, and I kind of want to talk about all the episodes thus far on the season for each of these shows with you guys. And of course, we will be engaging you guys in the chat and talking to you a lot about what your impressions are of the show as we go back and forth. Tonight, I'll probably do a little bit more of that this evening because I don't have Eric here to... Oh, I spilled it. It's Eric Duncan. That's right. Buzzword is going to be the guy who's going to come on here. He loves these shows and wants to talk about them. So we're going to do that together. All right, so let's get started here. Let's just jump right into it. So Gotham, first one up. This show airs, I believe it's on Mondays. I can't remember. Everything's on the DVR, so it is kind of sometimes hard for me to tell. But yeah, I believe it does air on Mondays. And it's awesome. It's awesome. I got to tell you, I'm loving the show. It started out a little rougher for me than I thought it would. Took a little time to get into it. I wasn't quite sure, especially that first episode. They did a couple of things with the camera that made me, I don't know, like, oh, that was weird and jarring. It was that, you know how they have these cameras that they can mount on the actor, and then they kind of point at the actor, and they keep the actor's head and chest pretty much in view, but everything else around them is going like herky-jerky. So they did this chase scene with Gordon, like running through, these hallways, and it was just Gordon's just sort of face, like, hardly moving, and everything was going around him. It just sort of really threw me. It wasn't like this awesome intro to the character. It really was weird how they focused on him. And then I got over that stupid stuff and started really getting into the show. So I wanted to talk about it, just do a little recap really quickly here on each of these. Let me bring up my little helper here. All right, so let's go through. This is a list of all the Gotham episodes that we've had so far and seen so far on the show. I'm going to make this just a touch larger here. There we go. And try not to cut off your chat too much. There we go. So first one on the pilot, Harvey Bullock, Detective James Gordon investigate the shooting death of Thomas and Martha Wayne. I missed this episode. I did not see this episode. I have to wait for it to come back on because I don't have Hulu. And besides, even if I did, Hulu would be gone. I missed the first episode. My DVR was not set properly. I don't know what happened. I'm confessing it to you now. I never saw the pilot. But that's okay. That's okay. Because I feel like the show caught me up rather quickly on all the events and all the characters in subsequent episodes. The first one I tuned in for was the Selina Kyle episode. Gordon and Bullock investigate a child kidnapping ring that involves a young Selina Kyle. I thought it was pretty cool how they put this character in, and I like her character so far. I like that she was a witness to the Wayne murder. I think that's really cool. Oh, did I mention spoilers? Yes, I did in my tweet. There will be spoilers in the show, so don't get all bent out of shape if you actually have something spoiled for you. Oh, good. Rude Boy missed the first episode, too. I'm glad I'm not the only one, Rude Boy. That makes me feel better. Thank you for the advice, Johnny. I will see if I can do that. So I liked Selina. I do like how they have the goggles. I like the character. I thought she has a very feline quality to her. she is really crafty and wily, even at this young age, kind of evading Gordon all over the place. I thought they did a really great job at that. I love the moment where, he takes her into custody and signs over for her, and then he goes down into the sewer, puts her in the handcuff, and she's gone, man. She's still gone. Leaves him in the sewer, and he has to go back and tell Child Protective Services that he lost her, which was awesome. So they keep crossing paths from time to time, and they keep seeing it with Selena. I like how she was a witness to the Wayne murder. Okay, Balloon Man. So Balloon Man was interesting, and I got a question for you guys here. Let me actually go up here really quickly, and so Balloon Man Gotham. Let's see if we can get some images for this guy. So this guy right here, look at this dude. Did anyone else kind of feel like he was like the Piggly Wiggly guy from Batman when Frank or Quietly was doing it? I forget the character's name, but he was like the pig guy in Batman. I mean, he looks exactly like that. Let's do that. Batman pig villain. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, this guy. Is it the same guy? Because, I mean, don't you think this looks exactly the same? This dude right here? I do. Seemed pretty similar to me. What do you guys think? I mean, I really felt like they were doing an homage to this guy, but I don't honestly remember this guy's story well enough. I certainly don't remember him doing balloons or anything like that. All right? Beware the Batman. Yeah, I thought that was a neat kind of moment here. But it's not really the same dude. But it felt like the same dude, that's for sure. It really did. And I love Quietly's art, by the way. I think that's the artist's name. I love his art. His art is so amazing. I love how he drew Damien. I thought he gave him like such attitude, and I love all his line work in here. So I thought that guy's a great artist. He's an amazing artist. Love seeing his stuff. But yeah, oh look, even when I do the Batman Pigman, this guy comes up right here. Totally comes up. But I don't think it's the same guy. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. So that was a cool episode. I loved how the dudes would go up in the air and then fall down. That was awesome, especially when it was that one dickhead cop that got put up into the air. All right, Arkham City Council preparing a controversial vote that makes them all deadly targets. Gordon and Bullock race to protect them. Meanwhile, Gordon has a visitor from his past. I don't remember this episode very well. You guys remember this episode? This one didn't leave a big impact on me. This might have been another one of those ones that I missed. I actually missed 2 episodes early on because I wasn't actually fully recording this yet. I don't know why. I got so desperate that I needed to. Hey, Fatback TV, thanks for the follow, buddy. I got so desperate to. Let me move this over into the center. There we go. I got so desperate to make sure I didn't miss an episode that when I would see it on, I would just tune into it and I wouldn't actually start recording the series or anything like that. So I think I missed this episode too. All right, here's what I think is one of the cooler episodes that we have seen so far. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see this better. Viper. This was pretty awesome. Gordon investigates a lethal new street drug. Oswald Cobblepot entrenches himself deeper in Maroni's inner circle, and Fish Mooney hatches a plot against Falcone. So it's funny to me that in none of these 4 descriptions here on this particular site, which by the way is episode guides, they're not focusing on Penguin at all. And Penguin was kind of a weird bird, pardon the pun, in the beginning of this. And it's, he's sort of downtrodden. He's getting beat up on and kicked around. You first see him in the alleyway, and he's kicking the crap out of somebody, and Gordon tries to stop it, and Bullock tells him not to. And he's really kind of this weird character. He used to hold Fish Marooney's umbrella. And it's not until the moment where, Gordon or Falcone and Gordon Bullock and Gordon get into some trouble and almost die. And it's when Penguin tries to snitch on Falcone and his men. And that was this really cool episode where, Gordon basically has to kill Penguin. And Bullock is really characterized. At this point in the show, I don't know what you guys thought about Harvey, but he was lost. He seemed like totally corrupt. I was kind of shocked at this because Bullock, it doesn't seem like he's corrupt in the books. He's just a hard-boiled cop, but he's a good cop. He doesn't seem like he's really on the take, but he does have a dark side to him. And so sometimes I think you forget just how much of a flashback this story really is. And Donald, the actor who plays Harvey, might be a tad old, in my opinion, or older looking to imagine him flashing forward that James Gordon's going to be this old gray-haired commissioner when Batman's around, and Bullock actually always appeared to me to be younger than Gordon, but not so in this show. Bullock appears to be older, so that one threw me for a little bit of a loop. But anyway, he has to go and he has to execute the Penguin, and of course Gordon doesn't execute the Penguin. He lets him go, which leads to some bad-ass stuff later in the show, and I think you guys, if you've been watching, will agree. Viper. Anyway, back to Viper. Love this. How fucking cool is this that they actually incorporated that this was sort of the precursor drug to Venom. And I loved it. It was so awesome. They had all this strength, but then he had to keep drinking all this milk or calcium or whatever, and it would like crush his bones. I mean, super, super cool. I love how they worked Venom in there because all of a sudden, as soon as they mention it, you're just picturing Bane. And like the real Bane, nothing against Tom Hardy and Christopher Nolan on how they, did their Bane in their universe there, but that's not exactly the Bane from the comic books. It's something a little different. And this felt like Venom. Oh my God, it's Bane from the comic books that you have this. So that was pretty awesome. Let's see. Spirit of the Goat. Okay, this is where the show really started to, like, Viper was probably the point where the show really started to hit home with me and resonate with me. I don't know where you guys felt like it really picked up, if you like were hook, line, and sinker from the beginning. Val, that is true. Bullock does look a little better in the show, weight-wise, certainly weight-wise. He's a hefty dude in DCUO, but he doesn't have his gray hair. He's definitely, a little younger in our game than he is. And I noticed Duncan is saying he loves Zaz. We'll get to Zaz. I'll address that in a second. Not quite at that episode yet. So, Spirit of the Goat. What I loved about the Spirit of the Goat is because, as I said, like, you feel like Bullock is just this really kind of lost soul at the beginning of the show. And then you do this episode, The Spirit of the Goat, and it's a cold case. And you go to see Bullock's old partner, who starts referring to him as this kind of like idealistic guy, this guy who's like ready to do good. He's basically describing what you're seeing in Gordon right now and absolutely not seeing in Bullock. And so there's been this almost role reversal where Bullock has become his own mentor and Gordon has become Bullock. And now you kind of see, oh my God, is Bullock going to start pulling himself out of the crapper because he's really looking at Gordon and looking at a past version of himself, which I thought was really cool. And what I loved about it was that you really get the sense that long before Bruce Wayne was even born, long before, any of these events where the Joker and the Penguin and, Mr. Zaz and all that kind of stuff are starting to come out of the woodwork, there were masked killers, there were masked villains, the goat, the Spirit of the Goat. And by the way, so in the end of this episode, I didn't see it coming, but once I saw it happening, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I love how they did the whole part with the hypnotist. And I was like, well, this isn't going to go well. She's going to be busted. How's she going to get out of this? And then she did the trigger word for that guy who attacked Bullock. And it was just awesome. And I love how she just shot her at one point to like hobble her so she couldn't get away. It was amazing. That was a really, really good episode. So I loved how they like kind of went back to a cold case. that they never, or at least they thought they solved, but they really hadn't solved. Like this woman was laying in wait the whole time, the spirit of the goat, and it almost seemed supernatural. Like there was a time when Bullock almost had you, thinking that it was supernatural, and then it ended up being this hypnotist. So that was a really well thought out episode, in my opinion. They did a great job with that. So then we get into Gordon. And Gordon can't hide from the consequences of sparing Oswald Cobblepot's life. And I believe, is this the episode where we see Zaz the first time? I think it is, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I think this is where we see Zaz for the first time. And we haven't seen the November 17th one yet. That one's still to come. So, but Penguin's umbrella, that one was really cool. Hey, DK, welcome. How are you, sir? Yeah, Kaizax, I agree with you. And then he's gonna bring it back home. So anyway, Penguin's umbrella. This is a great episode. Loved how this was done, and I love the fact, love the fact when they did the freaking reveal at the end of this. It was amazing. The whole 8 episodes before that, or 7 episodes, including that one, before that, just all of a sudden it made perfect sense. Penguin's rise through Maroni's ranks, everything. It was all planned, and they show you that scene with Penguin and Falcone, and they're in cahoots with each other, and he's infiltrating, and Penguin is becoming... Penguin is the best character on the show. Hands down, Penguin is the best character on the show. That guy, the actor's doing an amazing job. He's really well cast. Vicious and brutal. You really, really see where he's going. Yeah, Duncan, okay, I agree. Okay, the silliest thing in that episode, as far as like, have you guys seen this commercial on TV recently? It's some kind of cell phone commercial or something, and it's like 4 teenagers running away in a house from a psycho killer, kind of like a Leatherface kind of chainsaws, and like, let's go hide behind the chainsaws. Let's go get into that running car. Are you crazy? We'll go hide in the cemetery. Anyway, that's what I felt like Barbara was doing this episode. Jim is like, I can do this. I got this. Get out of here so I know you're safe. And she comes back and tries to lobby for him. I mean, crazy. I mean, it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. I don't understand what she was thinking, and it looks like she's absolutely unraveling as a result of it. Just crazy. I didn't understand Barbara's motivation in that. She really nearly got Gordon and Bullock killed in that one, if you ask me. So that was probably my favorite episode so far, Penguin's Umbrella, for sure. So good. The other thing that's weird is how they're handling Renee Montoya, to me. And sort of, it's almost like they're mixing up Barbara with Batwoman. And having the relationship between her and Renee, unless that one is going to come later with Renee. I don't know. I mean, certainly Renee was probably didn't just become gay when she met Batwoman. Probably has a long history of dating other people, so maybe that makes sense. But I loved Penguin's Umbrella. It was really good, and the mask after that really is where you see that Gordon has had an effect on at least one cop, and that cop is his partner. That cop is Bullock, and Bullock is now going to really come around, and he's going to be Gordon's ally for the long haul, and he's going to be good. He's going to be a good cop again. And I loved seeing that. I loved seeing what he was doing. I did like the mask episode. I thought that was pretty darn cool, how they were doing, the fighting in that weird financial firm. I mean, all those people bought into it too. The weird kind of Fight Club. What happens in the finance district stays in the finance district. The first rule of high-level finance, you don't talk about high-level finance. The second rule about high-level finance is you don't talk about high-level finance, apparently. So, yeah, I did like that. Gordon was a badass in that. He held his own against all those people. Unfortunately, Bullock's rallying call to the cops did not make it there in time. Hey, and jumping back to Penguin's umbrella, I did like Zaz. And I thought that you didn't like Roman, Johnny. What was wrong with him? You didn't like the mask? Why the mustache? Okay, yeah. Why that like little horse here, crazy mustache coming down? Yeah, Jim did kick ass. He did kick ass. He was unbelievable. But you know who didn't kick ass, to be honest with you? And it was really weird. So let's go back to Penguin's umbrella. When as soon as you heard Falcone said he was going to send in Victor, you were like, oh my God, Victor? Like Victor? Is it Victor? And then Zaz comes in and gets everybody, all the cops leave, even the captain. They just leave Jim there by himself. Crazy, right? That would happen. And then the gunfight starts. So here's the problem I have with that scene. And by the way, I love this show, but that scene, what? I don't get it. Jim unloads his clip. All Zaz has to do is do a little flippy flip off the back of the desk and doesn't get hit by the bullets. I guess it's supposed to make Zaz look awesome, but it really made Gordon look like he wasn't there. And then Gordon only has one clip. Like, where's the extra ammo, buddy? Where's your ammunition? He just runs out, click, 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 and he starts to run. He gets hit. He gets shot. And by the way, he has 3 people shooting at him. He's hiding behind the desk. The other 2, pew, 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 bang, 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 bang. The other 2 chicks that are like shooting at him, they're missing. Zaz and the 2. It's weird because nobody's hitting each other, right? Jim finally gets tagged, and then he goes. He runs out of the parking lot. This is where it gets really tense. And actually, I thought they were going to cheese out and make him get away, and they didn't. That was awesome. He gets shot. He gets shot again by Zaz, and you're like, oh, he didn't make it. That was basically like, those moments when I was playing Aliens Isolation where I tried to get away from the robot and sneak in the locker, but the robot caught me anyway. It felt like those moments. But thankfully, Montoya comes in and saves his ass and pulls him out of there, which was great. I thought that was a great moment. That whole thing with Zaz. But, I found the gunplay a little unbelievable. And the mask was cool. We talked about that. And then Harvey Dent obviously coming up. So my favorite characters so far, I love Gordon. Of course, he's the lead and the star of this, and he does a really good job in it. Penguin, probably the number 1 character for me right now in terms of development, acting, and just the viciousness that he has. And I am loving, because you guys, I see you mentioning it right now, and thank you for reminding me. I am loving Edward Nygma. Loving it. He is so awesome. It was so creepy when he rearranged that girl's filing system and everything like that. And you know what? You feel bad for him right now. Because quite frankly, Bullock and even mostly Jim Gordon, Jim's being a dick. Gordon is such a dick to Nygma, and Nygma's really smart in trying to help them out, and he's a total tool. So I almost feel like Batman dropped Joker in a vat of chemicals and spawns his nemesis, and I kind of almost feel like it's actually Gordon that's creating the Riddler right now, because Gordon's being a total douchebag to Edward Nygma. But he's a cool character too, and I also like Bullock. I think those 4 are the strongest characters on the show, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So right there, that's my wrap up on the show Gotham. If you haven't been seeing it yet, I pretty much just caught you up here on Spyt-Take, and you know what's going on. So go ahead and jump in there and check that out. The show is fan-flippin'-tastic, unbelievable. Can't recommend it enough. Get in there, even if you have to pick it up right now. They do a great job of catching you up on this stuff. So do get in there and check it out. All right, so next up on Spyt-Takes, we are going to talk about Arrow. Okay, Arrow. All right. This show is 3 seasons deep. Unlike Gotham, which just started, we're in its first season right now. Arrow is in its 3rd season. I started watching the show in the first season, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And then they introduced the Huntress, and I never recovered. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the way she was written. Maybe it was the way she was acted. Maybe it was the ridiculous notion of the Huntress being created in Starling City and dating Oliver Queen. I didn't quite get it. Didn't go with it. Couldn't handle it. It was weird. Loved the flashbacks on the island and how they introduced Deathstroke and all that kind of stuff. That was pretty good. But the things that were happening in the city were cool too. But then I started getting, like, two things started getting under my skin. And Greg Miller, Game Over Greggy, makes fun of me for this. Because last time I saw him in San Francisco and I had lunch with him, he asked me what I thought about Arrow. And he couldn't get over the fact of one of the big issues I had with the show. Let me explain what that issue is right now. I couldn't stand that I felt like it was a TV show in the way where they have a certain set. And, you know, where, like, in Smallville, they kept going to that fucking coffee shop all the time that Lana worked at. Like, I don't even remember the name of it, but every time they went into that goddamn coffee shop, I wanted to barf. Well, I felt the same way about Big Belly Burger in Arrow. Like, I just don't buy that Green Arrow and his buddies were just huffing down the burgers all the time, and how, like, you know, Ollie returns back and so, remember when you, me, Dad, and Mom, to Thea, used to go to Big Belly Burger all the time when we were kids? Let's just go to Big Belly Burger all the time now. And he'd, like, come back to the mansion with, like, a sack of Big Belly Burger and, like, give it to his mom, and she'd be all grateful. It's like a freaking billionaire woman running this huge, ginormous corporation. She's eating freaking the best sushi you can get every day, probably. She's not stuffing a freaking cheeseburger in her face. And Thea, who's, like, as thin as a rail, there's no freaking way that she is eating that stuff on a regular basis unless she has some kind of disorder, which, by the way, if you do, seek help and get better. But yeah, no, not a funny thing to joke about. But oh my goodness, I couldn't take it. And then the other thing was that like, Ollie was murdering people. I mean, he was literally killing people. Like, and they weren't really going into... what's interesting now, and we'll talk about the third season, is in the flashbacks they're doing with, like, Waller and stuff, is that, yeah, he was, like, an assassin, and he is in the League of Assassins and trained by them and stuff like that. So there are some interesting tie-ins, but they just didn't set that up much, you know. So you didn't feel much sympathy for Ollie in the beginning. It was hard to root for this murderer, you know what I mean? And so that was tough. Hey, Weapon. By the way, welcome if you're just joining us right now. This is Spyt-Takes, and we're talking about Arrow. Hello to everybody that is just joining us. And we just talked about Gotham. Sorry you missed it if you're just getting here. But now we're talking about Arrow, so I'm recapping the first season. So I actually had trouble with the first season, and I saw it all the way through to the end where Merlin blew up the city and all that kind of stuff. I got so turned off by it, I didn't watch a single episode of the second season. Confessing it right now. I have not seen a single episode of the second season. Don't know what happened. Have no freaking clue. Eric Duncan, buzzword, just kept telling me how awesome it was and I needed to check it out. So that's not actually true. I did watch a few episodes. But the problem was my wife wouldn't... so when my wife watches Grey's Anatomy, I pretty much, like, roll my eyes and groan and, like, oh my God, oh Jesus, so dumb. And then she would do the same thing to me when I would watch Arrow. So she kind of got into my head on it. I was just unable to watch it anymore because the comments that she was making about it. And Val, I don't know. I don't think just blindly killing people makes him more badass. I think it's more badass what he's doing right now, where he's not just executing people. That's crossing the line. That's not... If you told that to Stan Lee, like the godfather of heroes, he would be like, nope, that's not a hero. That's like breaks the cardinal rule of heroes. They don't kill people. And I know we're in a modern age, and I know all that kind of stuff, but it went too far. It went too far. See you, Kazakhs. Thanks for stopping by. Anyway, so I missed the second season. I do have to catch up on that. I want to give it a try. But I'm into the third season now. And, there's some good acting on the show. But they just keep doing some ridiculous stuff. Like they're desperate for like crazy maneuvers that he can do. And so I'm still trying to get into it. I feel like they're introducing a lot of characters, which I really like. In fact, just recently they introduced Ra's al Ghul at the end of that last episode. Awesome introduction of Ra's. Loved it. That was one of the coolest things ever. I thought I loved the whole thing, and I liked how they had Black Canary, and they've got Arsenal in there. In fact, the last episode they kind of named, made an allusion to, or alluded to, that they were gonna call him Arsenal. Ollie made that. They made that observation, which was kind of cool. But the flashbacks on the island were cool in the first season. I don't know what kind of flashbacks they had in the second season, but the flashbacks they're doing right now really kind of make you understand why Ollie was the way he was in the first season, but I just feel like it's too late. So he's off the island. He's working for Waller. He's like an assassin or something like that, and he's doing all kinds of things. But the show always does something that makes me feel like they're jumping the shark. And I wish that wasn't the case, because I do like Stephen Amell. I think he's good on the show. And Felicity's very good on the show. I love Felicity's character. And I love that they brought on the Atom. I think that is really cool, too. Black Canary is dead, but obviously that's the original Black Canary, and they're setting it up for what's her toast? Why do I have Lana stuck in my head right now? Anyway, the Black Canary's sister, who's now being trained by Ted Grant in the Wildcat gym, but that guy's way too young. Don't you guys agree with me that guy's way too young? That's crazy. And he was like supposed to be some kind of old fogey like long ago. Long ago, he, was actually in. Here, let's do this. Wildcat. Let's see here. The dude's there's the dude. Like, so here's Wildcat right now. This is the guy who plays Wildcat. He just seems too young to me. And he's training what's her toast as to be a boxer. And so that's cool that he's a boxer. But look how young. He just seems too young to be Ted Grant. I'm not quite buying it. Am I off base there? Does he seem too young to you guys? I'm not quite getting it. And he was like the Wildcat in the ring. That's why they called him the Wildcat. But I do like that he is there, and I do like that they're setting it up that she's going to be Black Canary. I'm not quite sure. Oh, look, here's some action figures. Look at that. She's got her little action figure right there. But she was trained by the League of Assassins, so I don't know how What's Her Toast is going to catch up here. But yeah, they kept hinting at it with the Wildcat gym and all this kind of stuff. And they did an episode featuring his sort of past, but that just seems too young to me. What are you talking about, Teffin? Brother Blood was in season 2 of Arrow? I didn't even know that. Liam Neeson? No, Liam Neeson was already Ra's. I don't know if we need to go to the Liam Neeson well again. I don't think the CW could afford Liam Neeson, quite frankly. Laurel, that's her name, Laurel. But yeah, he just seems a little too young for me. But I'm not gonna let that put me off the guy's ability to try and play the character or anything like that. Good on him for getting the role. This episode right here was ridiculous, by the way, where Diggle has to go, and he was total patsy. And then there's this episode where they're sneaking up here for the drop, but it's not really a drop, and like Arrow's like up on something, being all sneaky, but it's totally obvious that he's like right there. And I'm like, how does the guy not know he's there? And then of course ends up shooting him and all that. Let's see here. Yeah, and Roy's pretty cool. I like him. He always does this one parkour flippy move that he does all the time. And I'm wondering if I guess there was a drug in the second season that they get onto that Roy has to take that makes him kind of crazy and gives him super strength and stuff like that, which makes him think he murdered what's his toast. She's gorgeous, by the way. I don't know that actress' name, but just absolutely gorgeous. And she, there she is. Oh, and by the way, this was ridiculous. Like, this was supposed to be Felicity's mom. Like, that was the weirdest thing absolutely ever, that was Felicity's mom. I don't quite understand that. And then Thea being Merlin's daughter, interesting. I suppose. I was not quite getting there. I'm not buying her as some badass assassin yet either. So anyway, still having trouble with the show. But here's the worst part of the show for me, and it sucks because sometimes you do some things. Oh, and I forgot. I gotta. I have a confession to make to you guys. So the motorcycle jousting. What was up with the motorcycle jousting? I don't understand it. Like, first of all, how does the motorcycle steer itself and keep going and the throttle going when they're drawing bows on it and everything like that? There were a million continuity errors with the bow and the handlebars, the bow in his hand, the bow not on the handlebars, the bow and it was weird. And I don't believe that both of those assassins, like one of them wouldn't have gotten off the freaking motorcycle to be at an advantage of shooting faster and more accurately than being on the motorcycle. That was just like a desperate stunt attempt for me. And then not to mention this last episode, like Ollie totally wipes out on the motorcycle when he's chasing Laurel in the car. I mean, he like totally ditches his bike and it's like sliding out on the ground and everything like that. And then Roy's got to come. Red Arrow comes in like does it. All right, but here's the worst part. So I have to eat some crow. To all of you. So a lot of people wondered why the boxing glove Arrow wasn't on the Legends character, and I cited the show Arrow as a reason why we kind of went with, Arrow and Smallville, no kind of cheesy, gimmicky Golden Age Arrows. And then what does Ollie do in the Wildcat Gym when he's actually fighting, Oliver, or he's fighting what's his toast, Ted Grant? He actually sticks an arrow onto a freaking, sticks the boxing glove onto the end of the arrow, and what does he do? He freaking shoots it. Look at that. He did the boxing glove arrow on the show. It's true. It happened. I feel like I no longer have a leg to stand on when it comes to the boxing glove. Purely because it makes the Batarang look like weak shit. That is the funniest stuff ever. So I can't believe that the boxing arrow actually made an appearance on Arrow, but it happened. But I think that'll be the last time it happens. I feel like he's not going to be in a boxing gym. He's certainly not going to have that in his quiver all the time. So anyway, yeah, still really trying to like the show. Eric Duncan loves the show. I'm still trying to figure the show out for myself, to be honest with you. But it's DC. Oh, and the other thing too, like he did this meditation thing in his past, and then he was able to just sit down with Roy with a candle and go, now breathe deep, follow my voice, in, out, in, out. Oh my God, I had a revelation of what really happened a long time ago. I just don't know if things happen that quickly in real life, but maybe they do. I don't know. So I'm sure Duncan will have some choice words for me about Arrow next week, but that's how I feel about it right now. All right, let's move on. Welcome everybody who's just tuning in right now. You are watching Spyt-Takes. We're gonna talk about stuff. It's a show about stuff, and you can see I've sort of put in a correction there, or in addition, it's super stuff this evening, but we might talk about other shows on Spyt-Takes. Right now we have 4 DC related shows going, so why not talk about those? But they're not the only shows out there. Well, I watch a lot of Supernatural and Sleepy Hollow and other cool shows like that. So we'll be talking about some other stuff. Maybe there'll be some other types of shows. Game of Thrones will come on eventually. But so come on in here and let's nerd out together. I'll have a co-host next week, Eric Duncan. He'll be over here on the other corner of the screen, right down there, across from the chat from me. And we'll be nerding out about each of the once we do this where I'm catching up, we'll be nerding out about each of the 4 shows most recent episode with you guys. And we want to talk about that with each of you as they go. But as I said, right now it's a show about super stuff, but it's not always. It's just a show about stuff. I do watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Val MMO, and somebody actually, I think it was Radium, asked me earlier today, what about AOS? And I was like, what's AOS? I actually didn't quite know what the acronym was he was referring to, and I figured it out way later this evening that it was actually Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So maybe I should add that to the mix. We'll see if Eric wants to talk about that too. Yes, Teffin, Supernatural is a great show. I love it. It's been on for 10 seasons, and it deserves its success. But yeah, I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too. Maybe I'll add that to the format next time. Babes with guns. Oh my God, babes with guns. Hold on, I gotta put away my ice cream. That made me laugh so much. All right, so what are we talking about next? We are talking about The Flash. This show is badass. This show is badass. It has some of the cheese that you get out of Smallville, but there's so much badass in it, it's not even funny. When you watch Smallville, it took forever for Clark to learn a new power or do something more than just kind of run real fast or be a little strong. And it got, with Flash, they're boom, 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 boom. One after the other of the things he's learning and things he's doing. So let's cover the whole show here. Let me actually go find, if I can, an episode list for the CW Flash. It is flipping awesome. If you have not checked it out yet, you need to do so. Like really quick, because it is freaking amazing. So let's go over some of the cast, by the way. Here is the Flash himself. Let me put this back up here. So here is the Flash. Looks great in the costume. Love the costume. Very cool. Very cool costume. Here's Iris West and Barry Allen together. And they actually grew up together. So the history here is that the Flash witnessed his mom getting murdered, and his father was blamed for it. But it was actually, I think it was either Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom. I think it was Reverse Flash that did that. Just running around real crazy, and he couldn't explain it. And he grew up, he was adopted by Sergeant West, or Detective West, who is Iris's father, and they grew up together. And of course, Barry's already in love with her. But it's an unrequited love, for she is now dating Edward Thawne, the Reverse Flash, although it doesn't look like he's become the Reverse Flash yet, obviously. But they have good chemistry on the screen together, actually. I think they do a good job on the show. And, of course, Felicity was actually on The Flash, and Felicity was on he was on Arrow, and she came and did a guest appearance on The Flash. So they had some crossovers. So clearly they're committing 100% to Flash and Arrow. Obviously, you saw all the promos and everything like that, being in the same universe. This guy in the wheelchair, he's not a nice man. Don't know much about him yet. If you know much about him yet, are you serious, Miss Supreme? If you don't want spoilers, you need to leave here right now. Because this is a spoiler show. We're going to be talking about the episodes and the current episodes on this show. So, and nothing is off limits. So this is a fantastic show. I love how they're doing this. Now, they've introduced Captain Cold already. This guy was badass on the show. He was totally amazing. I love the gun. I love the special effect that they had for the gun. Captain Cold, Leonard Snart, was awesome on this show. And it's funny, in this scene right here where he actually gets his freeze gun, the guy shows him a bunch of different arsenal stuff that he stole from Star Labs, and one of them is this gun that like a flamethrower kind of thing, and he's like, no, I don't like heat, and he takes the other gun instead. So that was pretty cool. So Pilot was really good. You get to see him get his powers, and he hooks up with the people at Star Labs. Basically, there was this big giant explosion at Star Labs that this guy down here caused, and it gave him his powers. That's where the lightning bolt came from. And he slowly becomes hooked up with them and starts fighting metahumans. The first one was Weather Wizard, actually, and then he went up into I forget what this guy's name is. That's like the duplicating guy. It's oh shoot, I forget. I forget what his name is. Multiplex, or something like that. I forget what it is. But anyway, he's normally like a Firestorm villain, like it says up here. And they introduced Firestorm, too. Ronnie. He actually got consumed in the explosion that took Star Labs down. So they've had Weather Wizard. They've had Multiplex. I think that's his name. They've introduced Captain Cold. They introduced Heat Wave. At least you saw that Heat Wave got the gun. But the way that they're doing a lot of this stuff, with the special effects, they look amazing. They get to do a lot of bullet time with this to slow down time, and the way to make Barry Allen feel really fast, and the way that they've done it, and the way that they're representing the Speed Force, that looks really familiar. It looks like our game. The lightning coming off right there. Multiplex or something like that, or multiplex, yeah. And Michael Scofield was awesome, Prodigy. He was freaking amazing. That's for sure. So I'm loving this show right now. I think my favorite episodes or my favorite moments on the show are when the Flash actually rescues a bunch of people in a burning building. And then during the Captain Cold episode, like Captain Cold actually like shoots his gun at a train and makes the train derail. And the train is flipping and it's like derailing and shit's going everywhere. And he uses his speed to like run through, up and around, and takes everybody out of the train and like saves everybody. It was fucking badass. The train scene was like the best scene on the show. So awesome. I mean, really, really amazing. And then after here's a picture of the blur. So what do you guys think? Is this zoom or is this reverse flash? What do you think? I definitely think the effect that it was a blurry kind of thing maybe made me feel like that was Professor Zoom over the reverse flash, to be honest with you. Made me feel a little bit like it was reverse flash. And the other two villains that they've introduced are Grodd, Gorilla Grodd. They actually, in the pilot episode after the explosion at Star Labs, there was a cage there that had been broken out of, and it said Grodd on it. And in the last episode, they showed that one scientist, the dude in the wheelchair, as Ms. Supreme puts it. He's talking to Grodd and how Grodd is special to him, and he's protecting him from freaking Clancy Brown's character. By the way, any show that gets Clancy Brown on it is going to end up being a cool show. I gotta say. But yeah, I think it's Zoom. I don't think it's reverse flash. I think it is Zoom. I think we're onto something there, guys. And the question is Zoom the guy in the wheelchair or not? That's what I want to know. And I just loved the last episode too with Plastique. I thought that was really good. I just think they're doing an amazing job with the show. I definitely think it has some cheese moments in it, like Smallville did. But they are really doing a great job of introducing good characters and doing some amazing stuff with his powers. In last episode, he's like, "How fast do I need to run to go up a wall?" And so they tell him, and he does it. "How fast do I need to run to walk on water?" And so he does it. And in one episode, he's freaking run up the wall, and he's learning how to run on water. Basically, they covered momentum running all in one fell swoop. And they did it really well. And that guy is great. And when he went to go see, I love the. You know what my favorite part is when he sees somebody he knows, like his father or Iris, and he like blurs his face. He just makes his face go so fast you can't freaking see his face. And then he did this trick with his vocal cords last time too, where he's like, and he was talking to Iris, I am the Flash, you need to give up on looking for me. And it was really cool. I did a really good job at that. So, all around great show. Wait, what's going on here? What is this all about? What is this? Look what I just found. That's Reverse Flash. Whoa. Oh my god, you guys, look what we found. Has anyone seen this? Look at this shit. And that's Thawne. That looks like the actor who's playing Thawne right now. Oh my god. Yeah, rockin', the special effects are good, and I especially like they do some things where they show Flash moving real slow, and the way he's moving and his body and his legs go up. I have no idea how I just found this, dude, but check this out. Some badass shit right here. Let's go full screen. I think we're going full screen for this. This is some badass shit right here. Doesn't get much bigger than that. We'll have to go back. These might go off the internet really soon. Holy smoke. Look at that. That looks amazing. I love the black on the costume right here. What is happening? He looks like he's kicking the shit out of Barry too. Although he looks like maybe he's tired. I like that punch. This is a good punch. It's the same one right there, but that's a good punch. Wow, you guys. Look what we found together. Holy smoke. Wow. No, Aiden. No, Professor Zoom is not the Reverse Flash. They are two separate characters. No, they are not the same. They are not the same. Zoom uses... Reverse Flash uses the Speed Force. Zoom uses actual time manipulation. Totally different. Totally different. Hey, Pat, welcome back. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for Flash right now. Flash is freaking amazing. You should watch it. Even my wife loves Flash, so that's a good sign. She has good taste. So that was pretty cool. Oh, yeah, how'd you like Felicity Smoke as a hacker back her emo hacker? That was pretty funny. Oh, and going back to that with Arrow, what'd you guys think of Brother Eye? Brother Eye just sort of being a dude talking through a synthesizer with this program that Felicity wrote. Like Felicity wrote Brother Eye, I guess. I don't know. That one, I don't know. Well, we don't know if this is Reverse Flash or if it's Zoom. This, to me, this looks possibly more like Zoom. I don't know. That looks like Thawne. That looks like the guy who plays Edward Thawne. Hard to tell. I guess we'll know sooner or later. Yeah, the Brother Eye was a little weird. I didn't quite get that myself. Anyway, all right, so what's next that we're going to talk about and catch up? What is it, people? Spyt-Takes, welcome to the show. If you're just getting here, we're talking about, it's a show about stuff, and it's a show about super stuff tonight, because there's a lot of great superhero shows on right now. I didn't ever see him, Johnny. I've never seen him before. So anyway, we'll be here every Thursday. I'll have a co-host, Eric Duncan, will be with me, and we'll be talking about the latest episode of Flash, Gotham, Arrow, and the final one, Constantine. Dun, dun, dun. So, Constantine. Let's talk Constantine, folks. Y'all watching Constantine out there? People have seen it so far, I hope. Been keeping up on it. Let's see here. NBC Constantine. Boom. So, here's John Constantine. What he looks like. Let's put the screen back up. A lot of cool things with Constantine going on. I liked how they did him. See, here's the thing, though. So you do a picture like this with Constantine, and he looks exactly like he does coming out of the comics, right? We've all seen this look of Constantine before. This one even, right? I mean, it's like they're really trying to bring home the comic book, and I totally get it. But the problem is when you're doing this in, a comic, it's illustration. It's not moving or anything like that. So it just feels kind of natural. But when you do this in live action, it starts feeling like a costume, right? And so every time we see this guy, he's basically feels like he's in costume, right? Because he's got the red tie, always the same red tie, with it kind of really down low, really, really, really loose. And that works. I mean, even here, he bothered to pull his tie up once in a while. So it felt like they were going off one particular picture. Let's look for that picture right now that they're going off of there, because we've all seen it. Oh my gosh, it's actually not showing up here. Oh, by the way, best Lucifer ever right here. I know you guys probably gonna laugh at me, but I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I don't really care that Keanu Reeves is in it and that he is not Cockney and that he doesn't look like anything like Constantine and whatever. It was a freaking cool story, cool movie. I like what they did with it. It got it done in 2 hours, and the Lucifer in it was like the best Lucifer ever. So they're going for this kind of look, obviously. And it just, like I said, it became a costume after a while. And so what I noticed was they finally actually changed something up in one of the most recent episodes. They had him put on a black tie, and they tightened it up a little bit more. Because I think even they were realizing that this was starting to look a little ridiculous with him in the same exact, red tie and, loose jacket. So they really changed it up a bit, which I think was a smart move on their part. But let's talk about episodes and the actual content in the show. All right, Val, see you later. So I like the show so far. Ellen, my wife, isn't really digging the show yet. I like the show. I thought the first few episodes were a little rough. But why is Kermit up here? Why is Kermit coming up for Constantine? This makes no sense. Oh my god, what's up with what's with Kermit with the mole right there? I don't quite, is that a wart? Did they give Kermit a wart? Does Kermit have herpes? Does Kermit have herpes right here? What is happening to Kermit? Oh my goodness, Miss Piggy's been messing around on the side. Look at it, looks like he's got some sores going on. Jeez, Miss Piggy, you whore. Good Lord, you gave Kermit the herpes. Oh, good Lord, poor Kermit. All right. Anyway, so I like what they've done with the show. They've got Chaz on there, who's like his taxi driver. Let's do NBC Constantine again. And we'll do Chaz. A lot older than how they did Chaz in the freaking movie with LaBouffe. LaBouffe was Chaz in the other one, and of course you have Chaz here. And in the first episode, you see him just get, or maybe it was the second episode, he gets gnarly impaled by this high-powered electrical high-tension wire, and just you're like, oh my god, well, they killed Chaz in the movie, they're killing Chaz here too, and then Chaz is back later. Yeah, here's LaBouffe as Chaz, and this guy, I forget that actor's name is Papa Midnight. He was pretty cool. He was a much nicer Papa Midnight than the one we see in the books or in the TV show. But yeah, there's Chaz in this one. I really like this guy as Chaz. He's good. And then later on, we get the episode with the whole power lines and them drawing that one dude into the city was kind of weird. But later, it starts getting really cool. The show starts really picking up, and Miss Piggy got the herpes from Animal. That makes sense. He's a drummer in a rock band, so he's got to have something going on in his system. That's pretty funny. Oh my god. That's pretty funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yes. So now let's go through these characters. So this is an angel who they do a lot of really cool time stop stuff whenever the angel comes up and he talks to the angel. Here's Constantine. This is this chick Zed that he's hooked up with recently that's been drawing him. She draws, and this is Chad. And so these four seem to be like really the main characters together. The angel has let Constantine know that he could redeem his soul. She really has psychic powers and is being a sort of an oracle for Constantine so he can find stuff. And Chaz is some mysterious like Renfield like dude who never dies. And Constantine's just fighting demons and stuff. I think my favorite episode of the entire thing was okay, Aiden, what are you saying? Are you saying that the Reverse Flash is Professor Zoom or not? Because I don't believe he was Professor Zoom. But I'll look it up later. I don't want to get back into that too much. So the coolest part of the episode was Zed finally goes to Constantine's little like cabin where he lives with Chaz. And people, let me tell you something. Constantine is actually, I think, the Doctor. It's freaking Doctor Who. You're reading on Wiki? I'll look on that too. So anyway, and he's got a TARDIS, dude. The house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It's a freaking TARDIS. It's a TARDIS. Like the house is larger on the inside. So he's got his own little TARDIS. Which I thought was pretty cool. And there was another thing that reminded me of Doctor Who with him, and I can't remember what it was now. I like the episode with the miners. That was pretty cool. But the last episode was probably the best. And I love when you first see Constantine. He's standing naked in a circle inside this TARDIS cabin, and he's like dancing around, speaking some mumbo jumbo, and covered in blood. And Zed and Chaz, Zed's like, "What's he doing?" "Oh, he's learning a spell." And it's just like kind of old hat for him or whatever. It was kind of cool. And in that cabin, they've got this map. And this map is pretty cool. It's got all these blood spots on it that Zed can, kind of touch and look at places that are having kind of like supernatural threats and stuff. And there's a lot of artifacts that are really deadly on the table. And one of them actually is the Helm of Naboo, which I thought was pretty badass. Like it was sitting right there. And they made a cool reference to it. So they're actually talking about some other occult stuff that's in there. I liked it a lot. So yeah, it's a good show. I definitely check it out. It's a little. I think it hasn't gone through as many episodes as the other ones, but it seems like they could hit a stride here and do some cool stuff. They did introduce Papa Midnight this last time around too. I loved the episode. Actually, not this last time around. It was an episode with a record. An old record where it literally some old blues guy like made a deal with the devil, and then Old Scratch, as they call him, like came up and went to collect this guy's soul, and he was cutting a record when it happened. So the devil's voice was on this record, and they ended up like had this record would like kill you, freeze you, turn you into ice or something like that, and so they were looking for that. I love that episode a lot. And Papa Midnight was looking for it because he collects artifacts. And Doesn't really care about good or evil. He just wants the artifact. Here's him. And he almost kills Constantine, which was pretty cool. He like cuts him and gives him like a blood thinner, puts the coagulant over there, and some bum nearly kills Constantine, but he gets rescued. So there's Papa Midnight. He was a good character. He and Constantine weren't as nearly as friendly terms as they were in the film. Oh my God! Look, it's Flash beating up Constantine. What's going on there? What? What's happening there? Look at that. Oh my God, more Flash stuff. Oh yeah, and Killer Frost is actually one of the assistants on Flash. And yeah, it is. So it is Professor Zoom. Let's see here. Set for the Flash TV show. Eobard Thawne. Oh yeah, look who becomes Professor Flash. Professor Zoom in Reverse Flash. So I'm thinking of Zoom. Zoom is different. And Zoom is the guy that we have in our game, by the way. Zoom is the dude in our game. Not Professor Zoom. Not Reverse Flash. So yes. There we go. All right. So thank you so much. I think I'm going to wrap it up right now with Spyt-Takes. Next Thursday I'll be on again, and we will be talking about the latest episodes of Gotham, Arrow, Flash, and Constantine with Mr. Eric Duncan, who will be a co-host with us on this show. I hope you had fun nerding out. I'm going to hang around a little bit after here on the intro or after the show and answer some questions and talk to you guys in the chat. So do hang out a little bit if you want to do a wrap-up. And then I'm probably going to jump on DC for a little bit and see if I can't get a raid going for Love and War. And we will see you in game and see you next week. So do stop by and don't forget to give me a follow if you're new and haven't been around here before. Love to have you stay up to date on what we're doing with the channel and the shows and things like that. And until then, I will talk to you guys later.